Well, good morning from southeast Missouri. Kind of chilly down here this morning. Getting ready to head up to my mechanics. Finally, the 2-year headlight ordeal appears to be over with. He's a good mechanic. Took him quite a bit of time and diagnostics to find this problem, which is why I hate all this new crap, to be honest with you. I could totally live without it. I mean, technology is good, but sometimes it's really unnecessary. And this is a perfect example. So let me catch you up to speed. If you follow the channel for a while, I made a video about this a couple years ago. But probably forgot about it anyway, so let's get in it. I don't know, about a little over 2 years ago, I was driving down the road and had a headlight fault come on the dash. So on this Kenworth, my headlights, and I believe probably all Kenworths do this, I had to go through a couple different circuits, a couple different, goes through both fuse panels, the one by your feet, the one under the dash, and then runs through the chassis computer, all to tell us that there's a headlight out, because gosh forbid you couldn't find that on your own doing a walk around. So we got to have it up on a dummy light on the dash. So, and also runs through 2 different circuits and about 4 different fuses and a bunch of connectors. So one low beam, one high beam is on one circuit, and then vice versa on another circuit. So I quickly figured out it wasn't a fuse. I took it to 3 different mechanics. One where I was at, then another one after that when he couldn't figure it out. I forget where that was. It might have been a Freightliner dealer here in town. And then finally they recommended I go to a dealership, which I did. I went to Kenworth in Jonesboro. Give them a thumbs down. They charged me about $900 to diagnose it and told me it was a chassis node, which at the time, back we were still playing catch up for COVID, was extremely hard to get. So they ordered that, took 6-7 weeks to get it. It was $1,600. They put it in, fixed nothing. In fact, they wanted me to pay for it, and I'm usually pretty cool, calm, and collected, but my ugly side came out for a minute. And when the shouting was done, they agreed to put my old one back in. They tried to tell me, well, electronics, once you order them, you can't return them, blah, 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 or whatever. I said, no. You ordered it. You diagnosed it. You said that was the problem. You're the one that did this. I didn't tell you to order nothing. So they sent it back, and I've just lived with it. I've had a jumper wire on it, but and it works. It's been working for 2 years. But of course, my fear is what if the other circuit went out or something like that. So finally, didn't really need anything pressing fixed on the truck. Had a little time, so I took it to my mechanic, who has found the problem. He texted me something about having to rerun a wire or something. I don't know. I'm going to get you guys more details when I get there. But it took him about 8 hours. So he charges, what is it, $110 an hour? So it's about another $880. So I am well over $2,000 into trying to get my headlights to work. Absolutely ridiculous, over-engineered garbage, in my opinion. But we're going to find out what it was. With all that said, 3 mechanics, one of them being a dealership, couldn't find it. I'll put my mechanic against anybody. He's really probably the best in the business, in my opinion. So I'm going to get ready here. I'm going to take the wife to breakfast, and we're going to run up. He's about 20 minutes from me, and pick up the truck and have him explain to me what it was, because I don't really understand the text. But I think it was one of the wires between the connectors. There's a couple different connectors before it gets to the chassis node, and I think one of the wires was corroded out because, I don't know, he said something about 5 volts at one end or something, and 12, I don't know. Bunch of technical electrical jargon that I don't get, so I'll get him to break it down into layman baby terms that I can understand, and then I'll let you know what it was, just to keep my viewers updated and in case anybody else has this issue. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, at my mechanics pickup up Ellie Mae. See, it's busy in here. Trucks everywhere, all the way around the building. Typical, this is how you find a good mechanic, man. In every dealership, there's usually one good mechanic, but that mechanic figures out real quick he's better off to go out on his own. We got our headlights figured out. I'll explain that when I get home. And yeah, Ryan's Diesel, Dexter, Missouri. 3 mechanics, one of them a dealership couldn't figure it out. He did. He's just on a different level. If you guys have a problem out there, you can't figure it out, call him. It's worth the trip. All right, that's all I know for now. I'll explain what was explained to me. I'm just happy to have all my headlights working without warnings on the dash. After 2 years and a couple grand. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, got Ellie Mae back. I'm gonna do my best to articulate this, even though I don't fully understand it. Electrical is not my wheelhouse, and when it comes to this, Ryan's so smart. He tried to break it down to simple terms for me, but basically, I'll show you the wire. The one, I'm not sure if it's the only or one of the power wires to the chassis node is broken or corroded somewhere. And there's something in the schematic that he found that was wrong. So what the guy there's something about the 13 and the 14th pin, and he was checking it here, but not there. So it looked like it was a chassis node, but it wasn't a chassis node. It was one of, not the only, power wires to the node that run the headlights and stuff. So basically, he just ran a new wire. But it took quite a while to figure this out. And he said, you know, it was pretty difficult to figure out just the way they wire the truck and the way the schematic pulled up with it being wrong. So anyways, he had to do a little troubleshooting, you know, like a real mechanic does. The other steering wheel holding mechanic probably just tested power on the 13th pin, had power and not on the other side of the node, figured it was the node. And it wasn't, but he never took the next step to check and look further, then go to the second page on the schematic where you can clearly see that the pins are backwards. They got it messed up in there. Something like that. So I'll show you what they did in hopes that this helps somebody. God forbid you ever have this headlight issue. So 2 years, 3 mechanics, $2,000 later, I have my headlights working correctly without a jumper wire and no warning on the dash. All right, so let me flip it around and try to walk you through this the best I can. Okay, it all basically starts at this fuse panel under the hood, comes down here, and you can see the new wire that he had to put in. He spliced it into the wire that goes into this connector. These 2 connectors hooked there. You can't really see it, but they hook together there. And you can see the new wire, and he put conduit all the way around it, so you can see it's running down all the way down the side, and we'll go back to the chassis node. Okay, so he had to hook it in there. Instead of pulling this whole old wire out, wherever it is in this mix of wires, oops, the old wire is in with all these other wires. He just ran a new wire, figured out which one the bad one was. I'll walk around here, and he had to run it all the way back to the node, to the power side. All right, hold on. Come back here and look. Zoom in here a little bit for you. You can see the new wire coming in there and going in, hooking into, I think he ran it directly into the pin there, into the plug. Okay, so the bottom plug, then it goes, that's everything into the chassis computer and then back out. So that, it's all your headlights on 2 different circuits, and all your warnings are all controlled in there. So anyway, that's all I know about it. Let me flip this around. Okay, electrical's tough. I'm not good at it. I mean, I can wire up chicken lights, but that's about it. And good mechanics, super hard to find. Basically have guys that if the computer doesn't tell them exactly how to do it, they can't figure it out. Whereas my guy if things aren't adding up, he'll try to figure out why. And he says happens all the time. The schematics aren't always right. The instructions on how to fix it ain't always right. And sometimes you have to figure things out on your own. Crazy, huh? No computer, no something to walk you step by step. All right, man. Hopefully this doesn't happen to any of you, because it's been a real pain in the butt. But we got headlights now. The only reason I put this off for 2 years, I mean, it's been working fine. My fear was, what if I lose power on the other circuit? Then I got nothing. So it was one of those things on the list, low priority, but we had some time and nothing else that needed repaired on the truck. So I got it done. Other than that, he had his guy rotate my drive tires for me. Got about 50,000 on them. And that was it. All right, guys. Yeah, have a good one. God bless you. Bye now.